A bridge in the city of Baltimore has entirely collapsed after being hit by a container ship. This is the moment it happens. You can see the ship hitting a column of the Francis Scott Key Bridge on the left of the screen. The bridge quickly collapses. The Baltimore City Fire Department is currently at the scene. Its head says as many as 20 workers are believed to have fallen into the river. Officers have confirmed the incident is being treated as a mass casualty event after it happened at about 1:30 a.m. local time. There's now a large multi-agency rescue and recovery operation underway. The Baltimore Mayor, Brandon Scott, says he's aware of the incident and is in contact with local authorities. Well, this is where the incident happened. As you can see in the eastern state of Maryland, the Francis Scott Key Bridge crosses the Patapsco River. The bridge is a key transport route in the city. Traffic is being diverted throughout. Well, here's a witness briefly describing the scene.
I wanted to know what the bang was. Ship hit the Key Bridge, sinking. The bridge is gone.
Well, we're seeing some live pictures now at the moment of the scene where rescue workers are still trying to establish the scale of the disaster here after that ship hit one of the columns of the bridge and caused it to collapse, as you saw so quickly there. It was about 1:30 local time that the container ship hit the bridge, and 7 people, at least 7 people, and several vehicles have fallen into the river, and that's according to the Baltimore City Fire Department, who are currently at the scene. Well, Simon Jones is in our newsroom, has been monitoring this. So what's the latest on the numbers of people who might be affected by this?
Well, absolutely extraordinary pictures, but that has prompted a huge response from the emergency services. We were initially told they feared 7 people were in the water along with a number of vehicles. They have now upped that number to up to 20 people are feared to be in the water, and this is proving to be a hugely challenging rescue operation. It's being led by the fire service. They're describing this as a mass casualty event. Now, they have a number of challenges, not least, as you can see from these live pictures, that it's still dark. You can see the emergency services blue lights flashing, but they are trying to find people in the river below the bridge that has collapsed in the dark, plus also with the challenges that this huge piece of infrastructure has come down. It's a road bridge that's about 3 kilometres long, gives you a sense of the size of it, and so that presents some challenges because what they have to do is make sure that those rescuers who are going into the water looking for survivors will be safe themselves. So that's why all the emergency services in the area are responding to this. It's being described as a huge event, and that eyewitness you just heard from really gives you a sense of the shock that people are experiencing, a feeling about this. He saw, or heard the moment at least, that this container ship went into the bridge, and his response was one of simply disbelief. But at the moment, for the emergency services, the authorities, they have to put aside that initial shock, that disbelief, and focus on that rescue operation with up to 20 people at the moment, we're being told, in the water.
And tell us a little bit about the container ship, because there were early reports that it actually had started to sink. What's happening to the container ship itself?
Well, we're told at the moment by the firm which owns that container ship, it's actually registered in Singapore and was heading, we're told, to Sri Lanka. Now, we're told that that ship at the moment, that the crew members on board that ship have been accounted for and that they are all well and there were no injuries amongst those members of crew. But the firm that owns this ship is saying that an investigation will be launched. But I think at the moment there are going to be lots of questions about how this could have happened. It's a very big container ship, around 300 metres long, how it managed to strike a part of the infrastructure, and also questions about how this managed to bring the entire bridge down. A bridge like this would have been built to withstand a degree of collisions. There was always the possibility of that. It's a major road infrastructure bridge. We're told that it carries around 11 million passengers, vehicles travel across that bridge each year. So some real questions about infrastructure here. But I think in terms of the ship itself, then the owners of it are saying, yes, there will be an investigation, they will cooperate fully with that. But at the moment, the priority has to be those people who are potentially in the water, up to 20 people, we're told.
Indeed, so the focus on the rescue operation at the moment. In the meantime, the bridge is part of Interstate 695, isn't it? So quite a major piece of infrastructure. Tell us about the diversions and how much impact it's having on the area.
Well, it's going to create huge problems in the area because, as I said, around 11.5 million vehicles use that bridge each year. It gives you a sense of just how busy and important part of the road network that is. Now, people in the area are being told to stay away because obviously the bridge is now gone, that major part of the infrastructure. So the roads approaching that bridge have been closed, and also that's partly to allow easy access for the emergency services who are still heading to the scene, and this is going to be an ongoing and major operation. But this is going to cause big problems in the area, and also the authorities really urging people to stay away because there is that sense of disbelief seeing those pictures of the bridge coming down, a sense of disbelief that this could have happened. And I think always in a case like this there is a temptation for people to go along because they want to see for themselves what has happened and want to see really this what is now an empty space where the bridge no longer exists, because it's very hard to comprehend. Having seen those pictures, people who live in the area will be extremely shocked, but the emergency services are making it clear that is not going to help the situation. We know that the mayor said that he was heading down to the scene to be briefed firsthand about what has happened and inevitably to check whether the emergency services need any additional resources. And the county chief for Baltimore, to give you a sense once again of the scale of this and the problems that it has caused, is asking people to pray for those who have been impacted by the collapse of the bridge. So a sign again of what a major incident we're talking about here.
And we're hearing that the water in the harbour there could be as low as 9 degrees Celsius or 48 degrees Fahrenheit in the Baltimore harbour. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And so quite easy for people to get hypothermia fairly quickly if they are still in the water.
I think that will be a major concern, because often if someone goes into water of around that temperature, then often they may only have minutes to survive, and particularly if someone panics. We're told via various safety campaigns that if you do fall into water unexpectedly, you have to try and remain calm. But obviously there'll be that initial shock of the cold water. Then for most people that sense of panic will set in, and that's why this is very much a race against time, a race against the clock, because in temperatures like that, in the dark, in the cold, then inevitably as more time goes on, then the hope of people surviving, then that does diminish. We are hoping for an update soon from the fire service, because they have given us that figure a while ago of around 20 people feared to be in the water. So we're unclear at the moment whether there have been any rescues, successful rescues. But if people have gone in cars, that will complicate the issue. But we do know at the moment that the crew of the container that struck this bridge, causing it to come down at about 1:30 in the morning local time, the crew have been safely accounted for, and the container ship's owners say that their investigation and recovery team are also en route to the site.
Simon Jones, thank you very much indeed, and we'll come back to you later on. Thank you very much indeed for that update.